Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Girdhari Radha Girdhari Radhe Jaya Radha Girdhari Radha Girdhari Radhe Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Vishpad Paramahamsa Pravjikacharya Sotara Sata Shishimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Vishpad Paramahamsa Pravjikacharya Sotara Sata Shishimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhugan ki. Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhana ki. Shri Govardhana Puja ki. Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Budale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Vicharne Nivishesha Shanali Paschadestarne Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya So, it appears that my Prabhu, Bhakti Jamal, is out of the running. So, if you could repeat after me. This is a simple little prayer from the Preyo Bhakti Rasarnava, glorifying Govardhana Hill. Namaste. Namaste. Girirajaya Shri Govardhana Namane Ashesha Klesha Nashaya Paramananda Dayane Namaste Girirajaya Shri Govardhana Namane Ashesha Klesha Nashaya Paramananda Dayane. Offer my respectful obeisances unto the King of all hills, Govardhana Hill, the source of enjoyment for the senses, land, and cows. He's a servant of Krishna, and he's Krishna himself. He puts an end to unlimited sufferings and bestows the supreme bliss. As I said, that's a verse from Preyo Bhakti Rasar Nava. So, Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki. Everybody here knows the pastime of Govardhana Puja, right? We heard from Dravida Prabhu Monday morning, so those that were here or on the internet, they have fresh memory of the pastime. So I won't go into it in excessive detail, I don't think, but I'll try and share some drops of nectar that I find incredibly enlivening. Even though Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita says, we never tire of hearing your glories. My dear Lord, share some more. Anior, give me more. But I'll read a synopsis of Rupa Goswami glorifying the Govardhana Puja. But first, I love this little bit of nectar. Krishna gave his mercy to the Brahmanis, the wives of the Yajna Brahmins. And he gave them his unalloyed, full mercy, these pure Vaishnavis. The husbands, they didn't get the full mercy, because even though they took the dust from their wives' feet, realizing these are exalted Vaishnavis, they've understood the purpose of human life. Out of fear, concern, well, Kamsa might punish us if we go running off to Krishna to worship him. So they held back. They didn't break through their conditioned nature. In that village where they were performing their yajna, Nanda Maharaj was nearby preparing for the yajna for Indra. He and his brother Upananda and all the cowherd men and what have you, they were preparing this elaborate, wonderful sacrifice for the pleasure of King Indra. And so Krishna, who is the super soul in everyone's heart and who had seen this sacrifice performed many a time, knew what was going on. But he approached his father like a little child and said, "What's going on, Dad? Can you tell me, what are you doing?" And he said, "Well, we're preparing for a sacrifice for King Indra." "Why are you doing that?" "Well, because he sends the rains, and the rains cause the grasses to grow. Our cows are well fed. The ponds are filled with water, etc., etc., and our livelihood depends upon his mercy." And Krishna, being the super soul, knew that Indra, although an exalted devotee, was becoming a little puffed up in his position, in his service. He was thinking himself, king of heaven. Now that's an upadi, it's a false designation. He gets to wear that crown for a short time. He gets to do that service for a short time, but it's not his eternal engagement. But he was becoming proud. Yes, I deserve this worship. He was looking forward to the sacrifice. And yet Krishna goes, what are you talking about? And then, just like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I may have quoted it recently. Now, it might have been yesterday, Madhus and Jamal. But Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur one time said, "Yes, I used to think like that 100 lifetimes ago." When questioned, why did you do something that's out of tradition, that's so out of the box that we can't even understand how it's devotional service? And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that I took a vow in this lifetime that I will do anything necessary to spread Krishna consciousness. And Lord Krishna similarly at this time thought to himself, I'll do anything to help curb the pride of Indra and elaborate that my devotees should simply and exclusively worship me. And having said that, let me offer one more prayer, although even when I was doing the Prema Dhwani, I was thinking of prayers to the spiritual master and the disciplic succession and the Lord and his expansions, etc. I'm going to interject here, which I should have done in the beginning. Mukam karoti vachalam pungam langayate grim yat kripatam hanvande Sri Gurundi Natarnam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram, begging for their mercy. So anyway, he started talking all kinds of nonsense. He said, what are you talking about? We're dependent upon Indra for the rain. Everybody's life is dictated according to their karma. You get the good and bad results by the activities you perform. Karma. The rain comes, the grass grows, the cows are fed, we live happily, prosperously. And he said, even if you think that the karma in and of itself can't dictate these rewards, well, all right, say Indra or even Vishnu does it, but they're subservient to the karma. If we don't act, then how do they reward? Their reward is tied to the activities we perform. So who needs him? He's just a secondary element of our karma. And then you could say that, that's a breeze. Cool breeze wafted under the hill when Krishna was holding it. I just felt that cool breeze. So anyway, he said, yeah, and one performs his activities according to his conditioned nature. So actually one's nature dictates all of this. What are you doing offering worship to Indra? And then according to one's nature, one performs their duties. We're Vaishyas. Our duties are to take care of, raise, protect the cows, or agriculture, or trade, or lending money. We specifically raise cows, always had, even in lean times or good times. That's what we do. We've done this for eons. And our cows are dependent upon the grasses of Govardhana Hill on which they graze. And we can see that when we do perform yagyas, that the Brahmins give us their blessings. So we should also worship the Brahmins. That's tangible. They bless us. Life is good. We should worship the cows because our prosperity, our livelihood depends upon them. And then we should also worship Govardhana Hill because of all the wonderful pasture lands that, our cows graze upon. So in this way, and there was one last thing, he brought in atheistic Sankhya philosophy to boot. Said actually it's just those modes in nature, by passion the universe is created, by ignorance it's destroyed, goodness it's maintained. So anyway, all these demigods and the activities of the conditioned nature and this and that, it's all based upon the modes ultimately. And in this way, he was talking all kinds of gibberish. Karma Mimamsa, work hard and get the results, or atheistic Sankhya, there's just the laws of nature without a law giver, law maker, law maintainer, etc. And despite knowing that Indra would not be happy, Nanda Maharaj and all the coward men thought, okay, if that's what you want, Krishna, we'll do it. And they knew they risked the ire of Indra, and who know what would take place as a result, but they didn't give it a second thought. Whatever will please Krishna, that's what we're going to do. And so they performed the yajna. They brought everything together, and we know the pastime. This is where I think I will read Rupa Goswami's synopsis of it. See if I get it. Okay. Where, oh, where art thou? Please, Sri Krishna. This should be it. Okay. Rupa Goswami. These are wonderful prayers praising Haridev, or Srinathji as we know him now. But it gives the pastime. Rupa Goswami prays, may the Lord of Vrindavan, Sri Krishna, who protected his relatives from the devastating rain of Indra's cruel clouds that eclipsed the sun completely, by expertly lifting the best of mountains, Govardhan, protect us from all fear. Krishna stopped the worship of Indra with great logical arguments and at once engaged all the Govardhan Brahmanas in offering service to Govardhan Hill. All the coward girls of Vraj, dressed in the best of silk, went along with the coward boys, and they showered Govardhan with flowers, saying, "Oh, Govardhan, kindly be satisfied with us, and please fulfill all our desires." Now, why would they pray to Govardhan to fulfill all their desires? That's because they understood, as we heard in the verse that we chanted together, that Govardhan's he's the best of devotees for Krishna. He's Krishna's best devotees. They prayed to him like that in Gita, Venu Gita, in the Bhagavatam. And that verse is, of all the devotees, this Govardhan Hill is the best. And our acharyas tell us that Srimati Radharani herself spoke this verse. Oh, my friends, this hill supplies Krishna and Balaram, along with their calves, cows, and coward friends, with all kinds of necessities. Water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. In this way, the hill offers respects to the Lord. Being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram, Govardhan Hill appears very jubilant. They understood that if you want to have your wishes fulfilled, you can worship God, Vishnu, but even better and more efficient in fulfillment of one's desires is to worship the devotees of the Lord. And they knew Govardhan was so wonderful. Now, they didn't think in terms of Krishna as God, but Govardhan Hill pleases Krishna so much. We heard it the other day, the appearance day of Radha Kund, how Govardhan Hill is the most sacred place in the universe, second only to Radha Kund. It's better than Vaikuntha, better than Mathura, better than the forests of Vrindavan. Why? Because Krishna lifted it up like an umbrella on his little finger of the left hand. Just like an umbrella, he lifted it up and protected his devotees, the Vrajvasis. And he sports on the mountain, in the caves, in the rivers, etc., etc. It is such a sacred place, and it is such a wonderful devotee of the Lord, pleasing him in so many ways. So they prayed to Govardhan because they wanted Krishna's association. And so in the Venu Gita, they were praying to him, please bless us. They glorified him to please him, and in that way bless us. So here they're saying, they're asking all the coward damsels, kindly be satisfied with us, O Govardhan, and please fulfill all our desires. After Krishna in the form of Govardhan had eaten all the food offerings and had affectionately granted them all kinds of benedictions, the Brajvasis gradually began to circumambulate Govardhan Hill with its high peaks and boulders. Now it is incredible that when they made this yajna, they do the yajna like we see here. We kind of, very modified and simple in the best way we can, these fire sacrifices and whatever. They had the Brahmins perform them and all the offerings done for the pleasure of Govardhan. And at that time, Krishna, who was standing there participating in the yajna, sitting there, standing there, whatever, with all the Vrajvasis, he manifested a gigantic form on top of the hill. Gigantic form. Big as the mountain. And after you do your puja, what do? You make your offering of foodstuffs to the Lord. And so they had prepared so many foodstuffs. Mountains of foods. so many wonderful things, like Krishna had instructed them, all the sweets, all the savories, all the rice, all the cakes, so many wonderful things. And so Krishna appeared in that form, and he began to eat with his right hand all the foodstuffs. In fact, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that he manifests millions of hands, because all the Vrajvasis, a lot of devotees, they had offered, brought all this food stuff like Krishna, under Krishna's desire, by Krishna's desire, and he was just taking it. And then when he'd get thirsty, he'd drink the water from the different ponds all around Govardhana, drank them dry. And then he was just eating. They're all like, whoa. And Krishna's going, just see. Govardhana was so pleased that he's manifest such a merciful form to accept our offerings and our worship. And then, the place where it happened, this pastime, there's a village called Aniyor, and Aniyor means, give me more, give me more. So when you feel that desire, just like we had a nice luncheon with Jamal yesterday, and you want to have your fourth helping of Srikan, that originally comes from Krishna. That wouldn't be in our nature if it wasn't in Krishna. Krishna's saying, give me more, give me more. The difference is, in the spiritual world, everyone, and certainly Krishna, have spiritual senses, and there's no downside to eating. In fact, Krishna in his Astika Lila, eightfold pastimes every day in the spiritual world, eating is like, that's the thing. I counted it one time in that Astika Lila. He's eating prasadam, offerings made to him, about 8 different times. And he's feasting practically every single time. Give me more. So we have that to look forward to. So anyway, and then when he finally was satisfied, with his hand he picked up giant bamboo shoots and he cleaned his teeth. Like in India, you'll see him cleaning with the twig. And then the water from another kun, the Brajvasis, they brought lots of water and put tulsi leaves in there and washed his mouth. And anyway, he blessed them. And Krishna told everybody, we should do this yearly. Everyone should worship Govardhana every year. And because he has the ability to manifest in any form as he chooses, like he did with the gigantic form, although everyone's sitting there and they're seeing, that's Krishna. But Krishna is saying Govardhana has the ability to manifest any form he wants, and he can manifest in the form of countless snakes. And if you don't worship him, surely you will be bitten by a poisonous snake. So anyway, he put a little fear of God into them, encouraging them to worship Govardhana as a tradition, as they had previously forever, the puja for Indra. So the gopis have asked, please fulfill our desires. After Krishna, the form of Govardhana, had eaten all the foodstuffs and had affectionately granted them all kinds of benedictions, the Brajvasis gradually began to circumambulate Govardhana hill with its high peaks and boulders. Now, when they were circumambulating, we hear from Krishna book that the gopis were singing all kinds of nice songs that they composed for the pleasure of Krishna. Would you like to hear one of those songs? This is, they would do it like one half of them, maybe there's some precedent. The gopis would sing like this, and the other devotees, Vrajvasis, would respond. But the gopis would sing, Giri Pujayam Vihita Kena, who performed the worship of Govardhana hill? And then, in response, they would give a different answer every time. He who fearlessly usurped Indra's position. Then the gopis would say, Giri Pujayam Vihita Kena, who performed the worship of Govardhana hill? And the response would be, he who killed Putana. Who performed the worship of Govardhana hill? He who crushed the Trinavarta demon. Who performed the worship of Govardhana hill? He who uprooted the Yamala Arjuna trees. Who performed the worship of Govardhana hill? He who destroyed Vatsasura and Bakasura. Who performed the worship of Govardhana hill? He who brought death to Vyomasura and Agasura. And all the while they're singing, glorifying Krishna, he's playing on his flute. And any fatigue they might have had while circumambulating Govardhan Hill. You asked Janardhan. He told us the 2 nights ago on the telephone, yeah, I tried circumambulating. It just destroyed my feet. I couldn't go. Had to stop. It's not an easy task if you're not accustomed to. How many miles is it circumambulating? Yeah, I was thinking 13, 14, something like that. It separates the men from the boys from the men, whatever it may be. So he's playing his flute, and they're all enlivened by the Krishna kirtan and the accompanying music played by Krishna. So who performed the worship of Govardhan Hill? He who brought death to Vyomasura and Aghasura. Who performed the worship of Govardhan Hill? He who chastised the Kaliya serpent. Who performed the worship of Govardhan Hill? He who suppressed the wicked Palambasura. Who performed the worship of Govardhan Hill? He who swallowed 2 forest fires. Who performed the worship of Govardhan Hill? He who Kamsa always fears. So they all circumambulated that night. When they finish the circumambulation, they lay down, they take rest. Ecstatic. It's been a wonderful festival. But Indra, the king of heaven, began to destroy the sacrificial arena of Govardhan by sending heavy rains. The clouds he sent covered the horizon and showered torrents of rain incessantly. Being petitioned by his pitiful cows who were afraid and afflicted by the cold, and seeing the terrified coward men and women headed by King Nanda, Krishna's heart became softened with love and compassion for them. They all approached him, please help us. Krishna, that's what they always do. If they have any trouble from all the demons and pastimes we heard previously, what did they do? They always surrendered to Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. And so it's explained that he was in his doorstep of his house when they approached him. Well, he went and he walked to Govardhan. He sauntered to Govardhan or whatever. And there's a nice little tidbit of nectar. Even though it's pouring down torrential rain, by his arrangement, transcendental arrangement of his Shaktis, not a single drop poured down upon him. He arrived right at the foot of Govardhan. Turban wasn't wet. He wasn't discomforted at all. And so then he just effortlessly picked it up with his hand, went underneath, and he held it there with his little finger. And Krishna casually lifted Govardhan Hill like a playful, lordly elephant. The king of mountains, as big as he was joyfully lifted by him to provide shelter for all the inhabitants of Raj. In this way, Govardhan's peaks touched the sky. And explained that the Dravida Prabhu said, like the rain was as big as pillars. Huge, devastating rain from the Samvartaka clouds. And the hail's coming down. You know, sometimes they'll have hailstorms where it'll break windshields of cars and what have you. That's nothing. Nothing. These are giant boulder-like hailstones. And they're all, and the lightning being thrown. And Govardhan, he feels no discomfort whatsoever. Because Krishna is touching him and holding it up with his little finger. He feels like he's being given an abhishek of flowers. Like we showered flowers on Radha Hari not that long ago. Same way, Giriraj Maharaj was feeling wonderful. He felt no pain. All the cows and the coward men, they had gone underneath the hill. All the animals, the forest animals and what have you, they didn't go under. They were on the hill and the rain starts going. Well, it says the cloud lifted above, the hill lifted above the clouds. They all ran up on top, above the cloud line. And there they were just happily safe. And watching the fun, I suppose. Another thing is given that Sudarshan Chakra was rotating above the hill and protecting Govardhan that way. There's so many different angles to appreciate this wonderful pastime. And now torrential rain You know, when you have rain, they get the sandbags in OB and they line them up along the doors of the shops and what have you. Certainly in Mayapur they do that also. So Krishna didn't have to line up sandbags or whatever. When he lifted it up, it's explained that some of the boulders or rocks and mud and what have you, the dirt of Govardhana slid down perfectly and had just a little barrier wall right there all around the hill. So not a drop of water came in. Now you see that picture, if you remember Leela Sara's devotional offering last year where we had the picture of Krishna, it's kind of a darkish colored painting. It's very dark, but I suppose that's appropriate with the torrential storm going on. But Krishna's there, and you've got your boulders and your rocks, and everybody's underneath and, you know, absorbed in Krishna. But actually it wasn't just some dirty, like if you pick up a boulder and whatever, you got the dirt, the earth underneath. It wasn't like that at all. They came in, and in this valley that had been created by Govardhana being lifted, there was this beautiful village. Huge stalks of grains and grasses for the cow and water. And there were houses everywhere. Not ordinary houses. They were built with pearls and valuable gems. And the steps leading down into the valley where Krishna was in the center of the hill, they were all encrusted with, you know, priceless gems, etc. And so everybody came on in. And, you know, even though they had full facility to eat, to sleep, to take it easy, what did they do? They simply had Krishna Kirtan. They chanted and danced for a week, having loving reciprocations with Krishna. Dravida Prabhu mentioned he used the Rasiki reason for this pastime is so that Krishna could fulfill the desires of the Brajvasis, who are always feeling separation from Krishna every day. Mother Yasoda and and Mother Yasoda and the elderly gopis see him in the morning and the evening. They have foodstuffs they've cooked, they see him eat, etc. They bathe him, dress him, you know. That's their time. Cowherd boys throughout the day. And even then he's breaking off to see Radha and the gopis at different times. And the gopis, for the most part, they have to wait till night. So everybody had their extreme anxiety of separation, intense longing. When will I see Krishna again? Every moment seemed like a yuga in separation. But for 7 days and 7 nights, they simply enjoyed the association, everyone. And Krishna, being Rasaraj, he reciprocated with everyone according to their relationship perfectly. In contrast here, it's like, you know, we have our relationships, perverted relationships, but they're not perfectly satisfying. Even if you have the best friend, the best wife, the best husband or mother or father, I mean, it comes to an end. It only causes, you know, every happy relationship of this world causes concomitant pain because of the separation or the ending of it. What to speak of the sand and the street rice where, you know, who can perfectly offer us peace of mind and happiness? No one but Krishna. So Krishna perfectly reciprocated with all the Vrajvasis. You know, he would standing there, and Mother Yashoda explained, oh, he must be hungry, so she'd take a little butter or a little sweet that she had prepared and put it in Gopal's mouth while he's holding it. Krishna's enjoying that. And no, but I think that could be, I haven't seen it, but I accept it totally as the oral tradition of Vrindavan. There's so much actually that's not in Shastra that the oral tradition is, you know, they give lots of nectar there. And then I think you also made mention that, you know, at one point he's in ecstasy. I mean, ecstasy manifests in symptoms of the body, hair standing on end, tears, crying. Have you learned the translation of the Guru Vastikam yet, Bhakti Glenn? Yeah, that's part of what... Yeah, you have. So the second verse, the spiritual master is always chanting, dancing, playing musical instruments for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya. And he experiences symptoms of ecstasy, hair standing in, tears crying. So Krishna, at one point, he began to tremble because, you know, he's receiving so much love from his devotees and he's reciprocating in kind. And his hand shakes. And all the coward men and coward boys, whoa! They grab their coward staffs and let's hold it up. Don't drop it, Krishna. Smashed by the mountain of Govardhana, but they hold it up, and who was it? Mother Yashoda massaging his arm. Oh, his hand. You must be tired. Good golly, help him out here. My son's tired. And then, so we have friendship. We have the servants. We have the parental, and then of course the gopis. Rasa Leela hasn't taken place yet. He's 7 years old, and they're still just burning within their heart. We want Krishna as our husband. We want to please him in every way we can. And so they're simply, Radharani and the gopis, they're looking at him with that longing and sidelong glances. They have to be somewhat discreet. The elders are there. Hey, what are you doing? And Krishna, one time, so he looks over and he meditates on the beauty of the form of the Radha and some of the gopis, and another shiver, and then he looks over there at Balaram, and Balaram smiles, and then Krishna's thinking, oh man, I've been busted. I've been seen lustfully looking at my most beloved girlfriends. And in this way, so many wonderful reciprocations take place for 7 days and 7 nights. And for the coward men and women, and for Krishna, it all seemed like went by so quickly. It wasn't that quickly. It was 7 days and 7 nights. And you might say Indra's a little slow, because they're not being killed, they're not being disturbed, they're just in ecstasy having a festival under this. And there's nothing I can do. I've given him my best shots, and he's still standing and enjoying. This is not simply a talkative, arrogant little boy. Oh my gosh, this is my Lord and Master. This is Vishnu. This is Krishna. So he wraps it up. Let's read the last few verses of this. Because Krishna casually lifted Govardhana hill like a playful, lordly elephant, the king of mountains, as big as he was. And he was joyfully lifted by him to provide shelter for all the inhabitants of Vraj. In this way, Govardhana's peaks touched the sky. Now, we've heard from Krishna book that, he said, come, Mother Yashoda, come, Nanda Maharaj, bring the cows, bring all your belongings underneath here. It's safe. Just see, Govardhana has given us shelter. And it's also explained in one of the Goswami literatures, the cowherd men and boys, they have these directives or instructions for cows, and they do it like in short syllables, like ha, ee. They have these sounds they make. So when Krishna lifted the hill, he started going ha, 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 repeatedly, ecstatically, ha. And everybody understood, come on, the cows certainly did, come on, let's come underneath. And they were given the shelter of Krishna lifting Govardhana. He said, oh mother Yashoda, why are you lamenting? I, your son, have lifted Govardhana hill. Oh, friends, don't be worried or confused. I've solved the calamity. Do not fear the heavy rains. Look, I've arranged for your residence under this huge mountain. Please enter and make a fool of the king of heaven, Indra. Being thus personally consoled, the cowherd men lightened up in paramount bliss like lotus flowers. Going under the hill and attaining swift shelter there, they praised Krishna in great joy. And the last way in which Rupa Goswami ends it, such a sweet little, he ends it in his rasa, in his mood, and he quotes Sri Radha as saying, "O Vishaka, how is it that your friend is holding up this great king of mountains on the tip of his delicate little finger? Seeing him in this way, my mind is shattering again and again in apprehension." And that's the end of that prayer. Now, I want to also make note that Govardhana is the best of devotees, and that we pray to Govardhana for his mercy. And of course, the mercy that we want from Govardhana or any of the exalted pure devotees is that we want pure devotional service. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in the last days of his life, he chanted a couple of prayers continuously, often. One of them, let's see if I have it. Yeah, I think I even have the Sanskrit here. Nija Nikata Nivasam Dehi Govardhana Tvam. This is from, I think this is Rupa Goswami. Yeah, Rupa Goswami. And he prays, "O Govardhan, kindly allow me to reside very close to you." And then Raghunath Das Goswami prays, "Pratyasam me tvam kuru Govardhanam purnam." "O Govardhan, please fulfill all my desires." And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, following in the footsteps of Raghunath Das Goswami, he also prayed, "Govardhano me dishatam abhishtam." May that Sri Govardhan fulfill all my desires. So Govardhan is very dear to the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya had a Shila that when he first saw the Govardhan Shila in Vraj, when he finally made it to Vrindavan, he was in ecstasy. And he quoted that verse by Srimati Radharani, "Govardhan is the best of servants of the Lord," Haridasya Varyo, and many other prayers. And when he came back to Puri, somebody brought a Shila for him and gave it, a Shila, and he always kept his Shila around his neck. Sometimes he would smell it, sometimes he would place it on his heart, sometimes he would bathe it with his tears. And he gave that Shila to Raghunath Das Goswami, instructing him how to worship. Worship of Govardhan is very simple. In the mood of the Vrajvasis, some Ganga water and Tulsi leaves, Tulsi Manjari, and then a little sweet. That's sufficient to please Govardhan, to please the Lord, and to reawaken our love for Krishna. Raghunath Das Goswami is the Prayojana Acharya. He who, and as Girdhari is the Prayojana worshipful deity, Radha Gopinath rather. Radha Gopinath is the worshipful deity of praying, Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana, praying. And Raghunath Das worshipped the Lord in that simple fashion, and he's who ultimately at some point we will begin to pray for his mercy when it becomes relevant. But anyway, Govardhan is very dear to all the Vaishnavas. We've, for preaching purposes, made today our celebration, but Govardhan happened like 3 days before Prabhupada wrapped up his manifest Leela, and he wanted to circumambulate Govardhan on Govardhan Puja. Wanted to go on a bullock cart, just like Krishna and the Vrajvasis had. He wanted to hear the kirtan while we circumambulated. And we did that in his deity form after he left this planet, left this world. Govardhan's so very dear to the devotees. And so these are some prayers that are made mention of or given to us by the acharyas. This one's by Raghunath Das Goswami, and he's praying for residents. It said if anybody will circumambulate Govardhan Hill even once, they'll not take birth again in this material world. And one time circumambulating Govardhan Hill with Vaisheshika Prabhu, we stopped, and as is the custom for many of Vrajvasi or a pilgrim to Govardhan, you'll take some shilas, some rocks, and you'll make a simple little house there on the side of the hill. You know, some rocks for a wall, and then a bigger rock for a ceiling, and you can make it as nice as you want, best you can. And it's a gesture, a token being expressed to the Lord. Could I please have residence on or near Govardhan? And this prayer expresses such a sentiment by Raghunath Das Goswami. He says, his, meaning Krishna, transcendental form is just like a tamal tree, and his left arm a great branch, which held up the incomparable Govardhan Hill, while the reddish fingertips of his left hand rested on his hip. That Gopal Raj is gracefully residing on top of Govardhan Hill. Oh, this is the one in glorification of Hari Day. Gopal, rather, Srinathji. I won't read that one because of the time element. I do have it. The first one. Oh, Govardhana, like an umbrella you rested upon the hand of your Lord Krishna for 7 days, to curb the pride of Indra, the king of demigods. O vast hill of large rocks, so dear to me, kindly allow me to reside very close to you. O Govardhana, the ever-fresh, youthful couple are displaying intoxicating amorous pastimes in every single one of your caves. Please allow me to witness those transcendental sports. Kindly allow me to reside very close to you. O Govardhana, you are decorated with beautiful pavilions of pearls and jeweled thrones, shaded by trees along with caves and valleys, where Krishna always plays with Balaram and the cowherd boys. I also long to witness those transcendental games. Kindly allow me to reside very close to you. Same kind of verse from Tulsi's song. Please grant me residence in the pleasure groves of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Thus within my vision I always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. O Govardhana, you are the witness of the tax pastime of the youthful two lovers. You increase the joy of all the ecstatic devotees with your display of bluish pavilion, splendor, and fragrance. Please allow me to see that joyful pastime in your beauty. Kindly allow me to reside very close to you. O Govardhana, the lake, Radhakund, of Sri Krishna's beloved Radha, embraces you around the neck under the spell of divine love. The young couple are always secretly enjoying there in great joy. I also long to see Srimati Radharani's divine Kund. Kindly allow me to reside very close to you. O Govardhana, your name, meaning the sustainer of the cows, has become famous all over the 3 worlds, because you nourish the cows with your soil, water, grass, and shady trees. Kindly allow me to reside very close to you. O Govardhana, the enemy of Aga and Baka has made you famous by using you as an umbrella to protect the Vrajvasis from the wrath of the king of the demigods. Kindly allow me to reside very close to you. O Govardhana, you're the tilak on the forehead of Vrajadam, and are described as the best of Lord Krishna's servants by the nectarian words emanating from Radhika's own moon-like mouth. Kindly allow me to reside very close to you. O Govardhana, you're moistened by fraternal love for Radha and Krishna and their associates, and are dedicated to giving joy to the people, animals, and birds of Vraj. Please accept me out of your unlimited, causeless mercy, and kindly allow me to reside very close to you. O Govardhana, although I am crooked and deceitful, still Sri Sachinandana has delivered me unto you out of his unlimited mercy. So please do not consider my qualifications or disqualifications. Kindly allow me to reside very close to you. Whoever, and here's the blessing for listening to this prayer, whoever recites or hears these 10 verses praising the King of Mountains will attain a joyful residence near Govardhana Hill and will swiftly attain the jewel of Radha and Krishna's divine loving service. Shri Giraj Maharaj Ki. I don't know. It was nice though, wasn't it? Huh? Yeah. Now, we've got Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, but I wanted to find Rupa Goswami's. I thought I had it. Rupa Goswami's Govardhana Ashtakam is first. He wrote more than one. If I'm not able to find it, I'll do Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's. Give me one moment, please. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Parthama Govardhana Ashtakam by Srila Rupa Goswami. Peacocks are madly dancing upon you, to the music rising from the flute decorating Lord Govinda's mouth. You, whose rocks are splashed by the high waves of Radhakund. O Govardhana, please fulfill all my desires. By your splendor you astonish the minds of the Gopi girls of Vraja. You're described by the devotees as the best of Lord Hari's servants. You fill all directions with a most wonderful luster. O Govardhana, please fulfill all my desires. With your many pleasure-giving caves that are palatial resting chambers, you satisfy Krishna. Many clouds that are the friends of the moon and sparkling multicolored cascading streams cover you. O Govardhana, please fulfill all my desires. Your peaks are splendid with soft mineral colors, washed with your love, and suitable to decorate the Supreme Lord, who is the eternal decoration of all the worlds. You, whose caves eternally resound with the joyful sound of the flute. O Govardhana, please fulfill all my desires. Your many shining rocks are the regular sitting places of Lord Krishna. O charming friend of the Sarabi cows, O Govardhana, please fulfill all my desires. You stopped the multitude of destructive clouds and thus defeated Indra. You thus brought to an end Indra's hatred of your relatives, the hills and mountains. O Govardhana, please fulfill all my desires. You became an umbrella held up by the beautiful arm of Krishna. You are very appropriately named. Lord Krishna ordered that you should be worshipped with a wonderful ceremony. O Govardhana, please fulfill all my desires. O friend and assistant of Srimati Radharani's transcendental pastimes, it was in your forest groves that Radha dropped her necklaces and bracelets while decorating you with her rasa pastimes. O Govardhana, please fulfill all my desires. O King of Hills, O dear friend of Krishnamboda, I pray that to whoever reads or hears these 8 verses of your glorification, you will quickly give the ever-expanding transcendental bliss of devotional service. And the Lord of your heart, Sri Krishna, will happily accept him among his associates. Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki. You want to hear Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's? See if yeah. Okay. This is his prayers to ask Govardhana to fulfill his desires. May that Sri Govardhana, who has attained the title of Giriraj by Krishna's grace, despite the fact that in front of everyone he enjoyed the offerings meant for Lord Indra, and thus made Indra his enemy, fulfill all my desires. May that Sri Govardhana, who was unaware of the lightning bolts thrown on him by Indra, because of being touched by the gentle lotus hand of his beloved Sri Krishna, fulfill all my desires. May that Sri Govardhana, on whom Sri Krishna quarreled with the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, Sri Radha, over tax, and close to whom pure-hearted devotees are dwelling in eagerness to hear of this pastime, fulfill all my desires. Some other time we'll tell that tax extracting pastime of Krishna and the gopis. May that Sri Govardhana, over whom an ecstatic wind plays, making the fragrant dust of kadamba trees and other flowers bathe in the beautiful lakes at its foot, fulfill all my desires. May that Sri Govardhana, about whom pure devotees reside, and argue in different ways and again and again as to where Sri Krishna's musk-scented resting place could be, fulfill all my desires. May that Govardhana, on whom the does are standing, gazing down the path in eagerness to see Sri Krishna, mistaking the rustling of the bamboo to be Krishna's flute, and thus becoming stunned in ecstasy, fulfill all my desires. That's the deer being stunned in ecstasy. May that Sri Govardhana, on the middle of whose lake, Manasi Ganga, Sri Krishna makes his boat sink in order to be embraced by his frightened Radhika, fulfill all my desires. Without Govardhana's grace, who can attain devotion to Sri Krishna? May that Sri Govardhana, who is the best of Sri Hari's servants, bestow love for my master and mistress, Sri Radha and Krishna, on me for fulfilling all my desires. Whoever recites and hears these 8 prayers to the best of Sri Hari's servant, Sri Govardhana, in an affectionate mood, will swiftly attain the direct service of Sri Radha Madhava's lotus feet. Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki. Oh, let's see. There's one thing, I'm going to do this because I'm thinking of my Siksha Guru and friend Jananivas Prabhu. We have this, Pujariji, correct me if I'm not wrong, worship of 16 articles to the deities. And I've heard him, when we've gone to the island of Padasevana, explain how everything comes from Goloka Vrindavan. It's all from Krishna and Vrindavan. Everything. Including the worship that we do, the standards of worship, the 16 items, etc. And it comes from Govardhana and Vrindavan, and it goes to Vaikuntha, and then the demigods take it, then it's come down to us, and we do the best that we can. And this is really a Pujari's ecstasy, but if you don't mind, I'm going to give a purport or an elaboration. This is Gopal Champu, Jiva Goswami, explaining like a purport to the verse that Radha spoke, that you're the best of devotees because you offer such nice paraphernalia and worship to the Lord. I am. That clock is fast, and there we'll stop if the Kanksha comes. So with many charming jewel borders, or boulders rather, the mountain named Govardhana offers a sitting place for Lord Krishna. Isn't that the first thing you do? Idamasnam Klim Krishnaya Namaha. With the cooling of many birds, Govardhana offers Lord Krishna a welcome. So nice prayers. With its swiftly flowing streams filled with lotus flowers, dhruva grass, and shamaka seeds, Govardhana offers padya. That's to the feet, right? Padya. With limitless new shoots of dharma grass growing in deer hoofprint puddles, Govardhana offers arghya, washing of the hands. With ponds where jati, javanga, and kokula grow on the shores, Govardhana offers akshmaniya for the mouth. With fresh yogurt, ghee, and honey, Govardhana offers madhuparka. With water from a clear spring at its summit, Govardhana offers bathing water, damshnaniyam. With golden tree bark, fine like silk, Govardhana offers garments, damvastan. With fragrant powders, sandalwood paste, and red and white minerals, Govardhana offers fragrant ointments, the scents. With the blooms of malati vines and other vines, Govardhana offers pleasing flowers, dampushpa. With the dust raised by the Sarabi cow's hooves, Govardhana offers incense. With the glistening of its many jewels, Govardhana offers a glittering lamp, even in the daytime. With charming gunja, peacock feathers, clusters of flowers, and many other pleasing objects, Govardhana offers ornaments. With pleasing fruits and roots, Govardhana offers delicious meals. With cool, flowered, scented water mixed with fragrant and pure tulsi leaves, Govardhana offers water to rinse the mouth. With champa flowers and other glorious blooming flowers moving in the gentle breeze, Govardhana offers artik. With budding nakula flowers and other trees, Govardhana offers a graceful parasol, an umbrella. With blooming branches moving in the breezes from the Malaya hills, Govardhana offers a service of fanning Krishna. With the dancing of the cooing peacocks, Govardhana offers a festival of dancing. When attracted by Krishna's flute music carried by the breeze, a gopi comes. Govardhana prepares a soft couch of flowers. With the cuckoos cooing, Govardhana makes sweet singing. Gazing at Lord Krishna and performing these services to please him, Govardhana Hill confirms his reputation as the best of the Lord's servants. Giriraj Maharaj Ki. So we pray for the mercy of Giriraj. It should not be lost upon us that we are in no new Govardhan, which is non-different than Govardhan. Giriraj Maharaj is here in the Shila on our altar. By gazing upon him, by saying prayers to him, paying obeisances to him, or as Dravida circumambulates the temple, circumambulating him, all our wishes and devotional service can be fulfilled. Much mercy can be had. And tonight, let's have a joyous ceremony enlivening the guests that come to this house of Radha Giridhari and please the Lord in that way. Whatever services need be done, let's do it to the best of our ability like Giriraj does in his way serving the Lord. Srila Prabhupada ke, Giriraj Maharaj ke.